Guy Code with MANOSPHERE.
Welcome to another episode of the Guy Code. I am MANOSPHERE. Now, on this episode, guys, we're going to be talking about a woman's promiscuous past. Now, this episode is in response to a couple of questions I have been receiving from you guys. The feedback that I get, I really appreciate. Guys asking me, Rene, how do you identify if the lady I'm involved with has a promiscuous past that she may be hiding from me? Well, we'll get right into it just now. Now, we all know the saying, old habits die hard. And the habits we formed during our younger years still could form who we are in the future, right? As far as a partner, all of us want to bring their best foot forward and want to present ourselves as the best option our partner could have, right? This is very true in the dating game right now. Now, femininity is still viewed as purity and consecration. And sexual liberation is still frowned upon in this era, especially this part of the world that we are in, that I am in. I'm in Kenya, Africa, most, reserved, very conservative community societies still view sexual liberation for women as something that is taboo, right? So this brings about women especially would want to hide their promiscuous past. However, guys, you know that what is hidden in the dark will always come to light, and here are a few things that will help you bring it to light. Number one, her friends are her reflection. Her friends are her reflection. Okay. If she happens to mention how sexually liberated her friends are, very close friends especially, and you will have reason to believe that she shares the same values. This could be wrong, but however, you have reason to assume that she shares the same values because as human beings, we usually tend to engage and connect with people who we share the same values and who we tolerate, right, and encourage their behavior for the most part. So when you hear about her friends saying that, her friends do this, her friends do that, especially all the sexual liberation that her friends have, my friend so and so is such a, she's so liberated, she's crazy, she's wild when these things happen. And you wonder, she doesn't bring up her own stories, of course, right? She only brings up stories for others. So you would have reason to wonder, okay, when all this was happening, where were you? What were you involved with, when you were at this party and your friend decided to, go in the back or go in the car of someone and, do what she wanted to do? Were you just there just chilling alone? Were you just there, I don't know, complete by yourself, just watching it all happen and not getting involved in any of the action that was happening in that place? It's a good question you need to ask yourself, So this is a very important point that you need to understand, that her friends are her reflection. When she doesn't say much about herself, but she does share a lot about her friends, that sounds like my friend so and so, that sounds like my friend so and so. And this is a friend that you see she really spends a lot of time with. You have reason to believe that she shares the same values. Okay. Number two, another thing is that you need to identify how she responds after sex. Is she naturally inclined to bond, or does she easily take it as just physical? Now, this is mostly on body language, guys. When you've just been with her, made love, had intercourse, is she the kind to want to cuddle, want to hold you, want to, you know, does that release some bonding feeling with you, or is she the kind to just quickly head to the shower, to the washroom, take a piss or whatever, shower, dress up and leave? Because if she's the kind to do that, it gives you reason to believe that she's used to doing these things. This is not her first rodeo. She has maybe been to several one night stands. So these are a couple of things, couple of habits and a couple of actions that you can identify to understand, okay, is she really as innocent as she will want you to believe, right? So how does she respond after you just made love? And of course, guys, we understand that how she responds after you made love is really also dependent on the quality of the experience you gave her sexually, which is true, and we cannot overlook that. But of course, guys, if you presented a great experience and she's still the kind to be like, oh, okay, that was great, that was fun, let me dress up, take a shower, dress up, and leave. Well, you have reason to believe that she has done that before. These are kind of actions that will make you believe, okay, maybe she's been to a couple one night stands where she knows that, by 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock in the morning, you should be out of the house, and she sees herself out. So that's another thing you need to identify that will help. Right. Thirdly, point number 3. The moments she gets very stimulated and finding out what exactly stimulates her, right? This will also tell you a lot about her sexual past, what exactly stimulates her. If the normal things do not stimulate her anymore, if the normal foreplay doesn't stimulate her anymore, then that could also, as I've said before, give you reason to believe that is a lady who has experienced it all and wants something new, right? I will compare this to, and this comparison will come off as very maybe offensive to some, but it's the best one I can come up with right now. I can compare it to guys who have an addiction to maybe pornography. When the normal stuff doesn't really get to them as much or doesn't entice them, they look for something deeper because that part of them is numb. It's almost the same thing with also sexually, when the normal things, the normal foreplay, of course, I'm talking about quality foreplay. The normal foreplay doesn't really do it for her. She needs something very unorthodox. Maybe, I don't know, a couple of things at a time. Maybe you lick, bite, scratch, poke at the same time. With, those kinds who like rub here, poke here, bite here, all at the same time. Then that will give you a reason to raise your eyebrows and say, okay, what exactly is going on? Where did this come from? Because most unexperienced ladies, of course, you understand that everyone's sexuality is different and everybody is different. And what stimulates one person might not be the same for another. That's not what we're addressing here. What we're addressing is that if the normal quality foreplay, the caressing, the good kissing, all that, the touch, all that, just she's numb to all that. She really wants something very particular and maybe very aggressive, bringing out the whips and the maybe costume and all this stuff just to get her even moist, the slightest, moistness or wetness. Then that will give you a reason to believe, okay, this is maybe because she has done it all. She has experienced it all, and she needs something totally different to entice her. And you guys, you really need to take note of this. You really need to take note of this. Lastly, how she speaks on sexual liberation. Now, this goes also is in part to the first point. Is a lady who actually just talks about her, sexual liberation, or just how she addresses the topics in general. Most people will tend to project their own values, maybe even in a scenario that you present, that they're presented with rather. Apologize if I got that grammar wrong. And when she gets to initiate or gets to engage in the discussions about sexual liberation, how does she address them? How does she talk about it? Does she say that, a lady should have as a much high body count as she wants, and it doesn't mean anything. And a lady should just be able to, jump from one penis to another as much as she wants. She really encourages that. And by all means, if people want to do that, that's okay. But if you are not for that, you should just definitely make that known. That, hey, if you want to make that kind of choice with your own sexuality, you can do that, but not with me, And we're not here to police anyone's sexuality, of course. We're just here to identify the truth about the lady's sexuality and understand, are you willing to accept it? So these points, guys, I'm sharing with you guys are just to help you identify the truth about your lady's sexuality, and you make the decision, guys, if you want to still have her in your life or just dump her and say, you know what, you're not the kind of person I would feel I would be a good partner with, and I want someone else who has different principles and who has a different mindset on a couple of things, and that's definitely okay. And so, guys, these are just a couple of 4 points I wanted to share with you guys. Number one, understand how her friends are, Number two, how she responds after sex. Number three, how she is stimulated, what stimulates her. And lastly, how she addresses or how she discusses topics regarding sexual liberation. So, guys, I'm definitely open to more points that you feel from your experience that you notice could also help you identify a woman's sexual past. We're here to help each other. I definitely don't know everything, and I really get to learn a lot from the discussions we have online. Through my DMs on Twitter are always open. I make a note to respond. Get to connect with me on Twitter, on all my social platforms at Guy Code Kenya, at MANOSPHERE. Sometimes I see your requests on my Instagram, or even on Facebook. But Twitter, the official page of Guy Code Kenya, is really where I get to engage with you guys, and I really get to appreciate the discussions we have over there. And I hope this episode has provided some value for you guys. Until next time, we shall talk soon. Bye.
Guy Code with Rena Osware.